Hey, what up, y'all? Welcome to Black Dude with a Gun. And on today's episode, we're going to be answering a question from one of my subscribers wanting to know what should be the best gun for a new beginner. You know, what's the best first gun that a person should choose? And immediately when you see this question posed, normally in the comments, people will automatically say, oh, well, you know, you can't really choose a gun for somebody. You got to kind of let them go to the range and rent a bunch of guns and shoot them all and see which best fits them. And that's the craziest advice that you could give somebody, to tell somebody to not seek consultation in an industry that they're not familiar with. That's crazy to me. I mean, a newcomer would not know anything about a trigger pull. They wouldn't know anything about recoil. They wouldn't know anything about striker fire versus hammer fire. They don't know if a HK is better than a high point, you know. And let's get that out of the way right now. This being your first gun, don't cheap out on it, all right? I'm not saying go break the bank, but don't cheap out. Stay away from high points. Stay away from SCCY. Stay away from Taurus G anything. The G stands for garbage, all right? And I know, like, I got a lot of people in my comment thread that's going to hate me for talking about Taurus. I do it all the time. I hate Taurus striker fire weapons. But it's just my experiences with them, you know what I mean? And that's the thing that I want y'all to understand. In this video, everything that I say is totally subjective, 100% my opinion. You know, none of this is fact. I am by no means former law enforcement, military. I was a security guard for a brief period of time, but that means something. But, you know, I haven't had any real professional training or anything. I mean, I'm not a firearms instructor yet. But overall, I'm just somebody who's bought a lot of guns over the past 15 years, done a lot of reading, done a lot of research, read a lot of books. So take my advice with a grain of salt. But let's get right into it. Now, in this video, I'm going to be listing a bunch of good options for new beginners. But before we get to that, we need to talk about criteria. And the first thing you need to look at is caliber. What caliber you're going to choose for your first weapon. And I'm not going to go too deep into calibers, but in a nutshell, you have 22 long rifle. Virtually has no recoil, which is the scientific term for kick. But it virtually has no recoil. It also has virtually no knockdown power. Now, people in the comments are going to say, of course, you know, more people have been killed with a 22 than any other caliber. And I'm not here to dispute that. I don't know, nor do I care. All I do know is I'm not going into a gunfight with a 22. Just not me. All right. Now, step up from that is a 380. You have 380, which has more knockdown power than that 22. Also still manages recoil fairly well. But the only problem with the 380 is a lot of manufacturers are just not making weapons chambered in 380. So that's the only thing, is it's just not as readily available as some of the other options that I'm going to list. Like the next one, which is the 9mm. That's the most common round that you're going to find, period. Even in pandemic times, you're going to find them. They're going to be a little bit more expensive during pandemic times, but still the most common round. They still manage that recoil very well. They have a little bit more knockdown power than that 380, and is, like I said, it's one of the most common rounds out there. Now, when you step up to like the 40s and the 45s, you're gonna get, it's a bigger round. A 45 is a bigger round than the 9mm, so you're gonna get more knockdown power, right? But there's a few drawbacks to that. Although you get more knockdown power, you also get more recoil, so it's harder to manage, harder to handle. You're also going to be losing capacity. And what I mean by that is, this is my Glock 19. This was my first weapon. And since I know it is clear, this was my first weapon. And the Glock 19, it holds 15 in the magazine. If I was to put the 45 version of this Glock next to it, I think you'd probably get 10 to 12 rounds in the magazine. So you're going to be losing capacity, but you're going to be gaining knockdown power. So it just depends on what's more important to you. Now, just to keep this short and simple, go with the 9mm, all right? Go with the 9mm. You can't go wrong. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is size. Size is very important, no matter what your wife try to tell you. Size is very important. One of the biggest misconceptions is that the smaller the weapon, the cuter the weapon, the easier it is to handle. And that is, it's totally the opposite. And this is my Hellcat, right? If you haven't seen the review to the Hellcat, go ahead and check it out. I should be able to leave the link up top. If not, go back, check out my review of the Hellcat. Very good weapon, very capable. I have so much fun with this weapon. I carry this weapon more than I carry anything else, simply because of the size. It's also fun to shoot. But would I recommend this to a newbie? Nah. And the reason why is because it has a lot of snap to it. And let me see. The bigger guns like my Glock 19, right? The way you got to look at it is the 9mm explosion, right? It's built to be contained inside of a 4.5, 5-inch barrel. Something in a more of a full-size weapon. You're taking that same explosion and you're putting it into something that has a 3-inch barrel. Something that has a smaller frame. So, quite naturally, it's going to have a little bit more snap to it. And you want something that's going to be easier to control. Now, people will also tell you, well, go ahead and get a full-size gun and you won't have to worry about the recoil. And that is true to a certain extent. The thing you have to understand is that this is my Glock. This was my first weapon ever. But I didn't spend a lot of time with this weapon, and that's what you want your first gun to be, the gun that you spend so much time with, because it's going to be more of an introductory piece. It's going to basically introduce you to new weapons, introduce you to the world of firearms. And the Glock just didn't do it for me because it was too big for me to carry. You know what I'm saying? So you want something that you're going to be able to carry on a daily basis. You want something that you're going to be able to use for as a good bedside gun, home defense, truck gun, all different applications. And the Glock just didn't do it for me because it was too big. So, quite now, what would I choose? For new beginners, what I would choose is the Canik TP9 Elite Subcompact. If you haven't seen the review to this, go check that out. I just released that one a few days ago, a week ago. Check it out, man. But, hey, when I tell you one of the best weapons on the market, it is a subcompact, but it handles and feels like a compact weapon. And when I tell you, this is jam-packed with all kind of features. Night sight, cut for a red dot, Picatinny rail, really good trigger. I'm talking about top 5 triggers out of the box that I've seen, period. And here we go. Let's take a look at the trigger. So trigger pull, it's a little bit long for me, like I said before. The wall is very defined, and crisp break. Here is the reset. So quick reset, very smooth pistol, very accurate, and very durable. I mean, it's a very reliable piece, and the best thing about it is it costs $350 pre-pandemic time. Right about now, during pandemic times, you're gonna look at it spending close to about $450, $500, but it is well worth it. Like I said, this is competing with some of my higher end weapons. So that's just the one that I would recommend. Some other good options would be the P365 XL from Sig Sauer, very capable weapon. HK VP9 SK is a real good one ergonomically, just a little bit on the pricier side. What's another one? Walther PPQ. And this one, that CZ P10S. This is also a subcompact, just like that Canik, just like the Canik. This CZ P10S is also a subcompact, but it feels and shoots just like a compact weapon. Now, same thing comes cut for a red. Not this one. I didn't get the optics ready version, but they do have an optics ready version that can be cut for a red dot. Night sight, good ergonomics, and the best trigger. This is the best trigger out of any striker fire pistol that I own. Okay, I love this trigger. And here we go. I'll just give you a little quick demonstration. So here we go. It has a little trigger blade right there. So boom, quick travel. All right. Crisp break, and quick reset. So that's what you're looking for in the trigger too. So a think that's it, man. And there's a lot of other ones that you can throw out there. And keep in mind, everything is totally subjective. I can substitute these with any other weapons. All right, I can throw in a Glock 26. You can throw in Springfield XD. Any of those. All right, it's just totally subjective. Those are just ones that you can go out and take a look at, just to give you a guide to go by. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like, share, subscribe. And speaking of subscribers, my goal was to get 1,000. I think we're up to about 1,200 right now, and I just want to thank y'all for, I mean, the continued support, man. And keep in mind, I got a lot of other stuff coming down for this channel. We're gonna be doing Glock builds, AR-15 builds, AR-9, 300 blackouts, 6.5 Creedmoors, all of that good stuff. So go ahead, continue to support your boy, and the website will be coming up real soon, probably end of March, beginning of April, and you will be able to get these hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, all kind of stuff. So stay strapped. Peace.